And our short, please be gatekeepers and time. I tend to go off and on a tangent sometimes, and we're going to run out of time. So please, and speak up that I know that I'm running behind. Okay. So you joining us in a session called. Let me just share my screen here. Okay, how to facilitate customer journey mapping virtually. I think we've been, as a team, we've been basically working from home for the last year, well, more. But last year we didn't do so much journey mapping, but this year we started full-blown journey sprints again, and we had to find sort of ways that work virtually and online. And I think the message I wanna share with everybody out there is it is possible. You can have amazing journey sprint sessions online if you plan them out nicely and you bring in additional tools and tricks and so on to keep people engaged. So we wanna share a little bit of that with you today in this session. We're going to do a very basic way to do a journey map using paper again. So before we start, can you please go and grab preferably A4 papers, sheets, blank sheets if you've got. If you don't have A4, any a page that you can tear out of a notebook, because we are going to do folding again, and the folding is a little bit more advanced than the previous session. Okay, so
we're upgrading them, Johan.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm probably going to get it wrong again because it is so complicated that I cannot do it right. The participants get it right, but mine never works. But we'll give it a go today. Okay. So just to start off, and I just want to link the session to the empathy session. Steve Jobs gave this quote when he was still at Apple. And he said that you've got to start with the customer experience and work back towards the technology, not the other way around. And I think that is what I was hinting at as well. It's very difficult for us to get out of the systems and the processes. I say, you know, we let the systems that we use sort of dictate the customer experience, and that's the wrong way around. It should be customer experience should come first, and we should re-engineer the system to do what we want it to do, so that we can create an experience. So mostly it's the wrong way around, and that is what Steve is saying there as well. You know, start with what you want to deliver, and let the technology work to deliver that experience. Okay, what we will cover, just what's on the agenda for this session. I'm going to talk a little bit about insights or concepts around high-level journey mapping. Then we're going to do mapping in a real-life journey. We're going to take an example of a journey. We're going to map it. We're going to take a moment of truth, and we're going to innovate that moment, and we're going to have fun. I think that's the whole idea of the session. We want to keep the energy up. We're in the 4th hour now, so enjoy this and have fun with us. So I've highlighted, I don't want to bore you with journey mapping theory. Most of you are knowledgeable, even maybe more than I am, on what's going on in journey mapping. But I want to share my big takes with you that I think can help you when you undertake any mapping sprint. Now, Chantal hinted to this one already. In the first session, she talked about the peak end rule that Daniel Kahneman came up with. And in short, he said that people remember the peaks and the end of an experience. And I think that is very valuable when we map, to remember this and keep this in mind. So basically what he is saying is, whatever our interaction is, it's going to go through peaks. So let's say I'm going to the shop. I want to buy a soft drink and I have to stand in line. Okay, the peak goes down. It's not nice to stand in the line. Then eventually I pay for it. I open a can and it might whoosh, and I can smell it. So the peak is going up, and I drink my Coke and the the soft drink and the experience end. Okay, so there's always peaks in any journey, and there's an end. And basically, Daniel says that, listen, people remember the peaks. They remember this, the highs and the lows, and they remember the end. They never remember what's going on here in the middle, because that is very bland. When we've got a crowd like you, we don't have the time now, but typically I would ask, recall a good or a bad experience you had the last week. And most people can come up with a bad experience, but most people struggle to come up with anything. And that is because experiences are blah. It's sitting here in the middle, it's bland, it's not really doing something. Okay, so the purpose of journey mapping is to either get rid of the negatives, the low points, take them up, get them out of the mix, and design peaks in. But Chantel will now warn me and say, listen, we cannot design every moment on a high, because what happens then? Then we're getting a plateau again. So people are not going to remember it. So you don't want every moment to be a remarkable moment. You want something to look like this. And then especially for service centers, client services, it's very important to look at how you design the end of a journey. If you remember that funny video that Marley showed us, I mean, most customer care center calls goes like that at the end. Can you please write my service? And it's ridiculous. People don't remember that. Okay, so that is definitely, if you can remember the peak end rule when you map, I think that will help you along a lot. The next one, I think, is probably my number one tip, is start with the last frame of your journey. We don't know how many moments there is before we've started, but transport yourself to the end of the journey and put your customer there. Get a photograph, get an image that you can anchor it in a person, and ask yourself, what do we want the client to say about the journey with our brand? Okay, if that person is standing around a barbecue, talking to their friends and their family, what do we want that client to say about our brand? Okay, think about that. So do we want it to say just like it, please never go to those guys. I've wasted my time. The prices was inflated. The service is poor. It was just please don't go there. Or do we want them to say that the service agent was so kind and solved my issues immediately? They even gave me a shopping voucher for my trouble. I can highly recommend them. Okay, so think what you want your customer to tell other people at the end of the engagement with you. Okay, then white space. Now this is probably also my number one tip. So I've got many number one tips. White space is any space between moments when nothing happens. So let's say I fill in a form online asking for a quote. Then I wait. It can be a day, it can be 2 days, it can be an hour, but nothing happens until I get that mail back. And we call spaces like that white space. And I think it's very important when you map to put placeholders in for white space as well. Whenever you know there's time going to pass between two moments, put in an extra moment and call it white space. White space is really an opportunity for innovation and differentiation. If you do something in those spaces, nobody does it. So let's say you book a restaurant dinner a week in advance. If that restaurant in the 2 days before you come, say, listen, here's the wine list. Do you want to look at the wine list so long that when you come in, we can have your favorite wine ready? A day before the time, they can ask, do we need to buy flowers? Is this a special occasion, or whatever the case might be? But just keep people engaged in those white spaces where nothing normally happens, because people will remember that. You're turning a white space into a peak. Okay, back to Daniel's theory. Okay, then we talk a lot about emotions and empathy. So in our journey maps, we typically put in a swim lane called the desired emotion. Okay, and we decide before the time, what do we want a person to feel in that moment? And I think many times there's a conception that if you can put the emotion of happiness in every moment, then you've succeeded. And it's not entirely true. Sometimes we want other emotions. We want people to be trusting. We want to make people feel valued sometimes. We want them to feel safe or energetic or exploratory. Okay, so it all depends on the moment. So when you map out your journey moments, think, what is the emotion we would ideally like to evoke in our customer? And then we can go and design the journey accordingly. So maybe I can ask you this: when would we want the moment to be trusting, for instance? You don't need to put it in a chat, but trusting, I think when we deal with financial services and there's contracts in place and things like that, then we want to create a moment that creates trust. That the guy is making the right decision to sign the document or make the investment. We don't want the person to be happy in moments like those. Okay, so always remember I think maybe Chantal can help me out. I think Tony Robbins says there's 9 emotions. There's hundreds.
12.
12, yeah.
12 that people feel most frequently, and more than half of them make you feel like shit.
Okay, cool. So we've got names, many more names and words for emotions, but it's actually just 12. So think carefully what emotion you want to create. Okay, then moment of truth. I've got my definition here. I say that the moment of truth is any moment in a journey when a customer is faced with the decision, do I stay or do I leave? It's almost as simple as that. When the effort just becomes too much or the experience is so great that I can decide. So it can be a positive or a negative. Okay, but where I make a definite decision, maybe I must go and look for somebody else because I'm not feeling happy anymore. Or, these guys keep impressing me every step of the way. I will always stay with them. Okay, so that's a key moment. And we typically, when we map our journeys, we want to identify moments of truth, and we want to pay a special attention to them. Okay. How are we looking for time? Can I open up for questions if there is?
Yeah, Johan, you good? Go ahead.
About 3 minutes, Johan.
Okay, cool. Is there any questions? I'm rushing through, but if anybody wants to ask anything around these concepts. Okay, everybody's good.
Just one question. What do you mean that moment when the customer is like, should I stay or should I leave? What do you want to emphasize by that?
So, as I say, we call those moments of truth. So again, let's say we start walking a journey with a brand. We've decided we identified the need. We find a product that can solve that need, and now we're looking at somebody to sell us that product or that service. Now I'm walking a journey with them. But let's say for me to sign up with them becomes such an effort that I have to fill in packs and packs of forms, one after another. In a moment like that, I can now decide as a customer, yes, like, do I really want to do this? My friend said, if you go to the other bank, you can do it on the app and it's instant. and now I'm sitting. So now I decide, oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to try the other guys out. And that was a moment of truth. Or like me, who's a total Apple freak. I mean, Apple only have good moments for me. So, I mean, I love the product, I love the brand. So anything they do keeps impressing me. And it's my opinion. It doesn't matter if it's real or not. It's what the customer feels. If it's for him a moment of truth. Typically, moments of truth will be negative ones, but I want to emphasize that it can also be a positive one. So when the guy decides time after time, listen, I'm going to remain brand to this, loyal to this brand. That is also a moment of truth. And we can, if we can identify them where this can happen, we can when we design them, we can design the experience to either enforce the brand loyalty or to take the effort and negative sort of emotions out of those moments. So,
Johan, if I can quickly add, I think one of the traps that a lot of people fall into when they do customer journey mapping or employee journey mapping is they identify 50 or 60 moments in that journey. If they do it right, they should identify many moments, but not all moments are equal. So that's why it's really important to focus on the journey moments that are of a high priority to the customer, and also the ones that are of a high priority to your brand, where the risk is high, of the experience breaking. And then you focus on those moments. So if you go and read up on moments of truth, it was actually Jan Carlson from I think Scandinavian Airways that coined that term, where the customer is at risk of making a decision to either leave or stay with you. So it's really important, if you want to do want to get great results from your customer journey design, that you focus on all of the areas of the journey, but in particular the ones where the emotions are high and where the customer is at risk of having a poor experience.
Liz, you've got your hand raised. You can just unmute.
Right. Hello. Sorry.
Hi.
I got kicked off the call for some reason. I work with an organization where a client going through a particular journey has no choice. If they want what they want, we are the only people they can deal with. How do you approach that? When how would you describe those moments of truth when they're not moments where a person can decide to leave, but they can get really, really ticked off?
Yeah. So, I mean, I can think of a lot of examples like that in South Africa. We call them grudge purchases most of the time, policies, insurance, things like that. Medical aids. So I do get it. And, you can now look at it two ways. You can look at it capitalistic and think, oh, great. We don't have to do anything because people are stuck. Or we can say, listen, our priority and our purpose is still lying with the customer, and approach it as any other moment and design experiences to try and make it as comfortable or as effortless at least. Because usually when we're in situations like that, I think there's a lot of effort on the customer. Although he's locked in, everything is usually thrown at the customer to complete and to do. So try and make it as effortless. At least then the guy has got that working to his advantage. And just treat people decently. I think when in organizations like that, I think employees also becomes very blah, because they're also feeling this, people cannot really leave, so they lose their passion as well. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the employee side. Get them to feel passion and why they do what they do in the company, and impart that a little bit down on the customer.
Johan, I'm very conscious of time. We want to make sure we answer all your questions. Maybe we can save questions until the end. I want you to have the full VIP experience, and I'm going to ask the team to move on so that you can go into the practicum. We want to show you just a very simple way to do journey mapping with your teams. We know that there's very sophisticated ways of capturing it on Miro and Mural and concept boards, but we want to show you like a really analog way that brings out massive creativity. You up for that?
Okay,
All right,
let's start.
let me hand back to the team.
Marilee, I think you're up next. Or yeah.
No, Jan is carrying on. Go for it, Jan.
Cool. So I want you to grab your sheet of paper. We're going to start folding again, and I'm not going to try and do this on screen. So I've actually sketch noted out for you in detail so that you can follow with me. So it's very important that you sort of follow the instructions or the diagrams exactly. Okay. So grab your sheet of paper. Maybe you can just hold it up that I see you've got the loose sheet. Okay. Okay, everybody's got their sheets. Thank you. Okay. First one. So I am going to grab a sheet and sort of fold with you, but follow the instructions on screen. So just simple, keep it in landscape and fold it in half. Okay, simple enough. Now, just keep it as you have it and fold it in half again, downwards. Okay. As you've got it, just fold it from the left to the right in half again. Okay. Downwards, just don't move it as you've got it, just fold it downwards in half again. Okay, so you're ending up with a piece of paper now just a little bit bigger than a matchbox. Okay, now unfold it again, one time. And unfold it to the side again. Okay, so the piece of paper should have, if you look at where there's creases in it, it should create about 4 blocks, or not about, it should create 4 blocks that you need to see now. Okay, now this is the moment of truth, pardon the pun. Turn it upwards that on the right hand corner on top, it is closed. Okay, it's a closed corner, and that you've got sort of the 2 open ends, left bottom. Okay. Okay, and now I want you to tear out the top quadrant. Is that the right word? Quadrant. So the top right block. We want to tear it neatly if you can. Okay, Marilee's got it. Okay, moment of truth for me. And okay, Marilee, I never get it right.
Johan, come on, Johan. Embrace the fail. Embrace the fail. It's okay.
Okay, so hopefully you didn't do, oh my word, Alexis, well done. Okay, so everybody gets it right. I never get it right. I don't know what's wrong with my brain. It is probably a woman versus man thing. Okay, so you should end up with a round circle. It's not round, but a square circle, if that makes sense. Okay, and a little small piece with 4 blocks in it. Okay, and now I want you to just populate them as follows. So left top, you can start there, you write start. That will be moment 1. And then you can just number them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each of those little blocks will now become a moment. And then where it gets to the start again, that last block, we can just call it end. Okay, and then if you're done with that, you can quickly write in that little block that you tore out, you can put goal, exceed, expectation, and fail. And I don't need to be in a specific order, the 4 concepts. Okay, but you want to populate this square with the hole in, with the moment, and the little block that you tore out with those 4 concepts.
And if all else fails, just write it down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, so if you ended up like me with a broken template, you know, you can just quickly draw it out. And full disclosure, I have practiced that 4 or 5 times. It worked every time, except now. Okay. Okay, I'm going to move on. So the journey, I've decided on a journey for us today. So I'm just sketching a little bit of a scenario. So imagine you are arriving home from work. It is about 12 minutes before 6 at night. Your children informs you, listen, there's no bread for school tomorrow. They need to pack lunch boxes and there is literally nothing to eat in the house for them to take to school. You quickly look, you see, okay, online deliveries is only available until 6 p.m. So you cannot really take that option. So you need to go to the shop. Okay. Can we unpack that? I want you to take that journey of going to the shop and see how many of those moments you can just highlight on a high level, just write out each step that you think you're going to take to buy the bread. Think carefully where this journey starts. Okay, remember you're still at home. Okay.
Even better, draw it out.
Yeah.
Draw out the step.
So if you want to use your sketchnoting skills, draw it out. Okay. Let me just check the timing here.
About
Yeah.
10 minutes done.
Okay.
Yeah, if we could wrap up in about 10 minutes, that would be
Okay,
perfect.
awesome. So I'm going to play some music. You've got, let's give it 5 minutes because we still need to do the moment of truth. Let's just see how far we get in 5 minutes.
Cammino per la mia città ed il vento soffia forte. Mi sono lasciato tutto indietro, il sole all'orizzonte. Vedo le case da lontano, hanno chiuso le porte, ma per fortuna ho la sua mano e le sue guance rosse. Lei mi ha raccolto da per terra coperto di spine, coi morsi di 1000 serpenti, fermo per le spire. Non ho ascoltato quei bastardi e il loro maledire. Con uno sguardo mi ha convinto a prendere e partire. Questo è un viaggio che nessuno prima d'ora ha fatto. Lì c'è le sue meraviglie, il cappellaio matto. Cammineremo per sta strada e non sarò mai stanco, fino a che il tempo porterà sui tuoi capelli il bianco. Che mi è rimasto un foglio in mano e mezza sigaretta. Restiamo un po' di tempo ancora, tanto non c'è fretta. Che c'ho una frase scritta in testa ma non l'ho mai detta, perché la vita senza te non può essere perfetta. Quindi Marlena torna a casa, il freddo qua si fa sentire. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che non voglio più aspettare. Quindi Marlena torna a casa, il freddo qua si fa sentire. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che ho paura di sparire. E il cielo piano piano qua diventa trasparente, il sole illumina le debolezze della gente. Una lacrima salata bagna la mia guancia mentre lei con la mano mi accarezza in viso dolcemente. Col sangue sulle mani scalerò tutte le vette, voglio arrivare dove l'occhio umano si interrompe per imparare a perdonare tutte le mie colpe, perché anche gli angeli a volte han paura della morte. Che mi è rimasto un foglio in mano e mezza sigaretta, corriamo via da chi c'ha troppa sete di vendetta, da questa terra ferma perché ormai la sento stretta. Ieri ero quiete perché oggi sarò la tempesta. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che il freddo qua si fa sentire. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che non voglio più aspettare. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che il freddo qua si fa sentire. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che non voglio più. Prima di te ero solo un pazzo, la lascia che ti racconti. Avevo una giacca squalcita e portavo tagli sui polsi. Oggi mi sento benedetto e non trovo niente da aggiungere. Questa città si affaccia quando ci vedrà giungere. Ero in bilico tra l'essere vittima e essere giudice. Era un brivido che porta la luce dentro le tenebre e ti libera da queste catene splendenti, lucide ed il dubbio mio se fossero morti oppure rinascite. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che il freddo qua si fa sentire. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che non voglio più aspettare. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che il freddo qua si fa sentire. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che non voglio più sparire. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che il freddo qua si fa sentire. Quindi Marlena torna a casa che ho paura di sparire.
Can I get an indication? Do you need more time, or you can show me a thumbs up if you're good? You need more time, 2 more minutes. Okay, cool. We'll give 2 more minutes. I'll play another song. Hey, thumbs up. Are we good? Perfect. Okay. So now I want you to look at your moments that you've unpacked. Let's just see if I can share my screen again. Okay. I want you to look at what you've unpacked and choose one of those moments where you think the customer may form an impression of your brand or product. Okay, so we're trying to identify a moment of truth. One of those moments where there is a definite impression being formed, where the customer might make a decision. Listen, I can go to the next shop and maybe get a bread there, or whatever the case might be. Okay, there might be more than one. Okay, but just choose one. Okay, and now you take the middle bit that you tore out with those 4 concepts on, and we're going to innovate the moment of truth. So you're going to look at that moment that you chose, and we want to build loyalty and bank love in this moment. So how can we change this moment to create a positive impact on the customer? Okay, so if you remember, you had the goal. So what does the customer want to achieve in that moment? What is his expectation will happen in that moment? Is the expectation I will be helped within 1 minute, or I will be helped in 10 minutes? What is a reasonable expectation? How can we fail that moment? And this is another useful tip. When we do journey mapping, put in a swim lane for failures, moments of misery. Call them out before they happen, because then you can train your staff on them, or you can design the failures out of the journey. And then the last one, we want you to look at how can we exceed this moment? What can we do to make this a moment of magic, that the customer actually don't have a choice but to remain loyal to our brand? Okay, so I'm going to give you another 5 minutes to unpack the moment of truth.
Yeah, I know we're not hearing your music.
Sorry.
African song for James still singing. Magic machine cannot match human being, human being. African ideas, African ideas. Make the future clear, make the future clear. They are the scatterings of Africa, each uprooted one. They're on the road to Bellamanga, where the world began. And for the scatterings of Africa, the journey has begun. Oh mama, yeah, future find their hungry eyes beneath the copper sun.
Marilee, yeah, there's an interesting question in the chat. Kristen asks, curious, is the shop the brand we are experiencing or the bread we are buying?
So yeah, that's an interesting question, but and I suppose it can be for both. But this is the bread buying sort of journey. So we'll focus on buying the bread. When you get home and you start eating the bread, that becomes another journey on its own. It can also have a lot of moments of truth in that. But for this, we're focusing on the buying of the bread.
Which means the shop's brand will play a much bigger role than the actual bread's brand. Right.
Beneath this copper sky, and we are scatterings of Africa.
Hey, are we good? Thumbs up if you're done. You need a little bit more time. Okay, everybody is good. Okay, thanks for that. I'm not going to debrief the session. We've literally rushed through journey mapping now in it's like 40 minutes. I hope you got some value out of it. This is a very simple way. If you manage to fold your template correctly, this works very well. And using it online, there's many different ways to do it. I just want to echo what Chantal was saying about using your hands. So touching the paper, the tactile senses get stimulated, and that does stimulate the brain as well. You can use a T-bar like this as well. It's a little bit of a more simpler way, and you start drawing out your pictures, and you can plot it from happy faces to sad faces, high and low. So then it becomes a journey that looks like that. So you can use that with teams online as well. Just do it like that. But the origami one is fun, and I can now say I deliberately messed it up to create some laughter, and so
Make failure acceptable. So
I journey mapped this session, and that was a moment of truth, and I designed fun and laughter into it. So the emotion I wanted to create was excitement and enjoyment.
Johan, so I just want to quickly add a few things. So what you will get, we've onboarded you onto the Brand Love Academy. So if you check your email, you should get a log on. You'll get the different sessions, and what you're going to get today is a very practical field guide that I wrote on journey mapping. So you will get that Amazon book in PDF format. You will get to the last session in your Learning Academy, and you will be able to download the PDF. And if you want to do this slower, there is a video companion guide that I recorded with that. That'll take you step by step through these templates, also give you the templates to download. So that's available. If you just hang on if you did want the video companion, just hang on a little bit. We're going to mail you. We want to generate just a code for you so that you can get a bit of a discount on that code. And then all of these sessions are recorded. We put them into the learning management system. And at the moment, Mia, congratulations to you. You are top of the leaderboard. Mia's got various certificates. So there's a certificate literally for every hour session. So Mia managed to quickly answer the quizzes. So you don't have to rush and do that. You'll have time to do that. But I just wanted to give a shout out. Mia, let's quickly hear from our winner, top of the leaderboard. How was this experience for you? How did you enjoy the journey mapping?
So far, it's been absolutely great. I did do one of your workshops on journey mapping a while ago, and you forget some things. And this was a great refresher in terms of remembering what to do and what to follow, and etc., etc. And I like the physical touch of it instead of just, so yeah, great. Thank you very much.
And fantastic. Thank you so much for coming back. I see a lot of faces in the room that we've had before, and wonderful, wonderful. It's lovely, lovely to have our community and our peeps back. All right, Johan, if you're done, I'm going to hand back to Arshad, our maestro that's keeping us on time. And I believe we're going to do a fun activity now.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good people. How awesome was that session? I'd love to hear more from you. Let us know in the chat. What was your biggest takeaway from this journey map origami? It's so interesting, so practical. So basically what has this happened to was that we summed up like a whole day basically of teaching into like 30, 40 minutes. So Johan, absolutely phenomenal job. Thank you. I don't know how you do it. It was beautiful. Let's get some responses in the chat. What's one thing that you're going to take back from last session? And then I think we are going to have Tess. Tess is not here. Okay, I'm going to play a fun game with you in a few seconds. White space is an opportunity. Beautiful. I love that. All right, here's Tess. Tess, we're going to hand it over to you to energize the group before we go into the break.
Just quickly,
Yes,
Dan, the video will be available, Dan. And if anyone's struggling with the portal, just make sure you type your email address in there so I can check that you are registered. You'll have to click on the actual session that you attended, and then it'll take you in there with the quiz. Cool. Sorry, Tess, go for it.
No stress. So, guys, I'm going to ask you you're probably going to move a little bit. That's the idea. We hope that you're going to be able to. So, first of all, we're going to nominate a color, and then you have to retrieve an object of this color and bring it back and come and show us on screen. And Mia, you know where this is going. And the person with the most interesting object will win, and we'll get some extra prizes and extra points and just extra amazingness. So first up, I kind of cheated and I went and I got the most interesting thing that I could find first of all. So get us something blue. Can you see that?
Okay, let's go. You got 5 seconds.
There we are, Leanne. Run.
3, 2, 1.
Alexis, I love that. Awesome. Bravo. Okay, so show us your blue object. And who's going to give us a winner? Marilei, will you choose a winner for us?
Yes. Let me see. I'm going to scroll through all my screens. Oh my goodness. Liz, is that a dog? Is that a dog bowl to slow your dogs down from eating? Is it one of those? Oh, wait.
It's a slow feeder. I have a Labrador. It slows him down so he doesn't gobble.
Oh, I love that. We have some water, Ernest.
Alexis, shout out.
I'm seeing Alexis. Alexis is little. She's from the character. She's a character from an animation movie about the feelings. I absolutely love her. Alexis, it's between Alexis and Liz. It's Alexis and Liz. It's Alexis. Alexis, I'm gonna give it to you.
You guys see, this is why I outsource the decisions, because it's too hard.
Oh.
Wonderful. Okay, good. You guys ready for the next one? Next one is something orange. Johanna, I feel like that's cheating.
No, well, is that cheating?
It was just too fast. It was just too quick.
This is lunch or dinner, actually.
Or breakfast.
I've lost my focus.
It's okay, Johanna, it's late in the day. We won't hold it against you.
Right, time's up. Let's go.
Fab. Okie dokie. So Chantal, will you pick the most interesting orange goodie for us?
Yes, I will. Let me see. Hold up. Oh my word. What is Tiseko? What are you holding up? What is that? A sweater.
It's a
towel.
sweater. An
sweater.
orange sweater.
Amazing, amazing. I have to pick Michael because Michael's just holding like the bird I love most. That is called a hoopoo.
Hoopoo.
Look at that. Amazing. Great job, Michael.
Thank you kindly.
Hold it, hold it.
Excellent.
Hold it up, Michael. Sorry.
Michael.
Tess, now you spoke. I lost it. Okay, thanks. Got it. Thank you, Michael.
All's good in love and war.
Michael, I've got one of those in my garden as well. One
Oh,
exactly
amazing.
like that. So like your taste.
Big fan. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Right, Ashad, back over to you. I think we wanted to make it quick and make it snappy.
Beautiful. I would love to play more of these games. Maybe if we get a bit more time later on, we can continue with some of these more fun activities. Good people, the next session is all about rebalancing your life. We're going to talk about the Wheel of Life and some, or not necessarily the Wheel of Life. We've got something a little bit more different, a bit more special for you. So we're going to take a 5-minute break and we'll see you back at, well, in 5 minutes, depending on where you are in the world. Let's just say 5 minutes.
I've got a 5-minute long song, so that should do it as a timer.
Thank you.
Okay, Johan, that makes up for it. That's a really good song.
I love it.
You get a fast car. I want a ticket to anywhere. Maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove. You get a fast car. I got a plan to get us out of here. Been working at the convenience store. Managed to save just a little.